first speaker for the night is Mr. Larry Eldridge.
Good evening. My name is Larry Eldridge, 6405 Cecil Drive. My main complaint is and I don't care if you say we can't attack somebody, is on 911 response by the city of Flint. When you're called and it takes over an hour and a half to get a squad, and then you get a route officer, I think it's about time that the city council investigates into the problems. When you tear down my property, and it's been since the 9th of the month, and as of today, when I checked with Joe Conroy, he's still not got an accident report from the city of Flint. Now there's something wrong. It don't take 2 to 3 weeks to get an accident report so I can get my property fixed. I want to know who owns the van. I want to know if the van has insurance on it. If not, then I guess it don't leave me but one thing to do. If you think I'm going to turn it over to my homeowners and pay the first $250 deductible, you're all crazy sitting up there. I didn't tear it down. Some ignorant young punk hit a car, bounced off the car, hit my fence, almost hit my dog. And I tell you what, I think as much of my dogs as most people do their kids. My dogs is my life. You kill one of my dogs, I have no respect for you. Until we get some action, I think the chief of police ought to be brought into meetings where he can get these reports of his officers at 911. 911 is getting real bad response lately. And what do we pay taxes for? We have city councilmen that you can't even get a hold of. And when you call, leave a message, they don't call you back. And if you think I'm lying, you better start checking answering machines. Because if you think I'm lying or crazy, you better check answering machines, because I'm not crazy. I'm 65 years old, and I'll live to be another 20. But I'm not going to put up with this garbage. Something's got to be done. If the council can't make their calls back, then I guess we just have to do one thing next, is put a recall against every one of them and get a new council body. Especially that one that can come to a meeting, and then the minute it comes to city council meeting, because somebody from his ward is here and might slam him a little bit, he all wants to leave. He can sit back at that other meeting tonight, but he can't come up here and hear the complaints about his ward. That's pretty bad. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Ms. Cam Gerald.
Good evening, Council.
Good evening.
I just wanted to not talk about anything specific. The first thing I wanted to say is I'm going to periodically appear before you and ask that you consider very strongly forming a charter committee or a commission that will review the Flint City Charter and put language in there more appropriate to stop some of the backbiting, the arguing, and the bickering between yourselves and the mayor. You may not like the person, but the position deserves the respect. And the same thing as far as the council. People may not like council, but the position deserves the respect. And the only way that you're going to stop with this power struggle is to come up with a charter that's not ambiguous, and put language in there. This city has changed since November 5th, 1974, when that charter was adopted. It can't service the constituents if the city has changed, and it's obvious because of all of the things that you're arguing about. So I'm going to just say, please consider a charter committee to do this charter and this city some justice. The other thing that I wanted to say is, you know, recalls are supposed to be used in a very civilized manner, and you recall a person when they've shown you things that they haven't done right or they fail to represent the people that they're supposed to represent, and then you use the recall. The recalls are not supposed to be used for, if this person doesn't vote the way I want them to, I'm going to recall you. A recall is not supposed to be used if you don't get the job that you think that you should get. That is not what a recall is supposed to be used for. And if you look up the definition of recall in the dictionary, it says to send something back and redo it again. It also says to revive or to restore. So are these recalls used to revive the Flint government system or to restore something, or are these recalls just personal assassinations? Flint is one of the smallest cities in the state of Michigan. Without that much government going on, much smaller than Detroit, and Detroit doesn't have that many recalls. Now, how can such a small city, every time you turn around, have a recall for something? These recalls are nothing more than personal attacks on all of the people that are being recalled. So now, if each one of you are recalled, who's going to govern? Nobody. If you don't like someone, if you don't like their performance...
Can we give her the respect and listen to her? I apologize.
If you don't like someone, and if you don't like what they're doing, the constituents speak when they go to the polls to elect you. You wait until if they haven't done anything dastardly to the point that a recall is obvious to be done right now, you get your chance to speak by not voting for that person the next time they're up for re-election. This is silly. Every constituent is not being served properly because you're spending so much time on these recalls, which says to me that no one has an agenda. No one has an idea. The mayor's ideas are criticized, or who can come up with something better? Council ideas are criticized. Who can come up with something better? Everybody's idea is being criticized, but will the real person with the real idea come forward? Where is that person?
Can you guys... Thank you, Ms. Clean. I'll ask you this. Thank you. But can you let her speak, Ms. Clean? Thank you, ma'am.
The interruptions don't bother me. I just wanted to say that. I mean, what do you think about the recall? Are you able to do your business with all of the recalls that are being done? Can you say that any one person, and I think all of you probably have some kind of recall against you. I think they're trying to recall you. I think they're trying to recall Councilman Nelson. I think they're trying to recall you. What is the basis of all these recalls? And people are so busy signing a petition, I would probably guess that a lot of them don't really know what they're signing. They know they're signing a recall. They hear the person with the petition saying, we want to recall this person. But are they talking about a valid reason why they want to recall the person? I don't think so. So again, I'm just going to say, come up with a charter copy, allow the constituents to vote on it, and then put the language in there so a lot of this stuff can
Thank you, ma'am.
stop and get down to the business of the city.
Thank you. Mr. A.C. Thomas.
Flint City Council, my name is A.C. Loomis, and I reside at 533 East Lincoln Street.
I just want to say, you know, I'm real funny about family business. I was told that what happens in the house stays in the house. And we didn't allow outsiders, because if we wanted to break the presidential dishes, that was us. It was inside, you know. So I'm real funny about family business. And I think that if you want to have a voice in this family business in the city of Flint, what you ought to do is move from Oakland County and move back to Flint. Don't vote in Oakland County and then come to Flint and tell us how to run our family business. I thought I'd put that on for the record. Now let me read my prepared speech. It says, the residents of the city of Flint are again being asked to support another Flint City Park millage. Thank you. Again, are asked to support another Flint City Park millage to be on the November 7th ballot. Our city parks are in a deplorable condition, especially the ones on the north side of Flint. I would hope that this council agrees with me and gives a no vote for the park renewal millage. The money for the park are not being used for the park. Look at the high green grass. Look at the broken slides. But yet we want the city of Flint to vote for another millage, and we don't even know where the park millage money is going. So I ask you to vote no for the city of Flint park millage. You know, Haskell is closed. I think it remains closed. And Joe Conroy of Flint Township, remember I said that if you know about the family thing? Well, he lives in Flint Township or Lake Flint, someplace out there, big house out there in the suburbs. He makes $85,000 plus a year out of Flint City taxpayers' dollars, plus benefits. He was quoted in the Flint Journal saying it would take $85,000 a year to keep Haskell Park Community Center open. Well, let me give you a suggestion. I would strongly suggest that the mayor, since he's in love with the senior citizens and the youth of this community, of this city, to fire Joe Conroy. Take his $85,000 a year plus salary and reopen Haskell Community Center for the seniors and the youth. Well, if you need a little more money, Larry Ford. Now, I don't know what he does. I know he drives a white Cadillac, and I saw him on a building just north of City Hall. I would suggest you take his $45,000 a year for whatever he does and take it and put it in Haskell so Councilperson Poplar can have additional programs up there for seniors and for our youth. Well, enough is enough of that. Remember, a no vote for the park millage. A no vote for proposal 2. That's the, quote, affirmative action. Vote no. And I told somebody, if you get confused in the polls about all these millages, I'm going to tell you just like they said about drugs, just say no.
Next speaker is Mr. Alex Harris.
Hey guys, can you keep the noise down because it starts to disturb us
and I'm going to single people out to give you one warning and two warnings. We have to be professional about what we're doing. Let's be courteous. Mr. Harris.
Thank you. I appreciate the council coming together in recent times and unanimous votes on issues so obviously. So, what's that?
You give your name and address, or come as close as possible.
Alex Harris, 1107 Beard Street. Appreciate the council coming together in these unanimous votes of recent times, especially in something so appallingly wrong, in such direct opposition to what the charter intended, and of course that being to do with the lack of a police chief in this city. Everybody knows, I'm sure by this point, that the mayor's had his way for now over 2 years without a police chief. The city council, very frankly, for a long time, and it can even to some extent reflect on the previous council, had allowed the mayor to basically violate, let's put it down to its simplest level. Sometimes we get involved in the legalistics of things, and in this court proceeding that will probably take place next Monday, I'm sure, especially our fine city attorney and her skewed logic that she spills out and spews out as far as justifying what the administration does, tries to contend that there's some validity to the mayor not being obligated to put forth before this body a police chief. I said to you, with just a few people in the audience, just before your 9-0 vote last week, imagine if the President of the United States had in mind if there was a need and an open vacancy for Secretary of Defense or State or whatever department or key position that called for nomination and acquiescence of the Congress, that President said to act with you. I'm just going to name my person Secretary of State and ignore what the Constitution intends and what you guys should be able to consider as far as the worthiness of the nomination. Obviously, that would never sit. And the city council, in the simplest, dumbest down to the simplest level, that's what you guys have allowed to have happen for way too long a period of time. You've allowed this man, this autocrat, this foolish, degenerate old man to flaunt the appropriate constitution of this city and have his hand-picked guy, who the police department and these 4 police officers have very little confidence in. You've allowed this man to almost improperly, I'd even call it illegally, sit in the position of police chief and allowed this mayor to flaunt the requirements of this charter. Now I congratulate you. You've come together. You've now stood and said enough is enough. However, in my own fascinating way of speaking so southern, I say, what a disgrace. I look over at your city attorney and I think, how could anyone disgrace the office as you have? I would love an opportunity in a public forum to debate with you, because I've never heard someone with such a convoluted sense of logic. And you have served the city so poorly, cost the city so much in the way of goodwill and integrity, as well as money. And to sit there and think you can sue the city council as if they work for you. You are not worthy of the position. And why? You sit there for 80 or 90 or whatever salary you get and sell your soul to the devil. I think you know in your heart of hearts that the positions you advocate for this mayor, in fact, I know that. And you probably know I know that from other cases. this audience doesn't know, but I know and you know where you're at in other legal situations. And I won't say at this time, but you're a hypocrite, and I believe you'll be shown to be a perjurer when all is said and done in future cases. You've disgraced the office. I don't care how much money you'd be paid. If I was sitting in that position knowing what I've done, I would gladly leave and save what little integrity I have.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Miss Diane Blasingame.
Good evening, Council. My name is Diane Blasingame. I reside at 1506 Randy Court. And I just got back from Jerusalem last week, and I was appalled that the Haskell Center was closed. And I concur with Councilman Gonzalez that I would do whatever it takes. Jackie, you know I'm in your corner 150%. And I just couldn't believe it. I could not believe that it was closed, and I know you're going to do everything you can to reopen that center, and I believe it was a direct retaliation from our mayor, and I think that shows that, I think it shows his character, and it shows his true colors for what he's worth, and I think everybody can see that now. And we have to move forward. I've been praying for the city of Flint, and we really need to just focus on where we go from here instead of what's been going on in the past. We need to go forward and not look backwards. There's even a scripture that talks about looking for what's ahead of you and not what's behind you. So we're going to move on in the Lord. And I want to say this, as far as crime in the city of Flint, a lot of people were concerned about me going over to Jerusalem because of the war, but I felt much safer over there. I can honestly stand here and say that I felt safer in Jerusalem than I do in the city of Flint. The reason being is I can reach out and touch a military soldier. When I call the police, they may not get here till tomorrow. And something really needs to be done. And I don't know what can be done, but something really needs to be done about our situation and the crime that's going on. And I know we can start on our knees talking to God.
That's right. Thank you. Veda Bala. Is Veda here? Veda Bala, B-A-L-L-A.
Good evening. My name is
Can you raise the mic just a little?
My name is Veda Bala. I reside at 3415 Hall, Flint, 48507. I'm here in reference to the property at 2106 Lapeer Road, commonly known as the 10th Life Cat Shelter. I'd like to tell all the citizens of Flint that some of you are sitting here tonight breaking the law. You're breaking the law even as I speak. If you have more than 3 cats, you're breaking the law in the city of Flint. And I know some of you good people who are breaking the law, but I'm not going to tell. I'd like to say that we ran into a situation. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization that exists strictly to the care of providing a home or taking Flint cats off the streets and giving them a home. We were recently hit with a violation of, actually condemnation notice based on occupancy for human standards. There are no humans living in that house. We're a 100% volunteer organization, and no one draws salary. But I'm thinking of Mr. Conroy's salary there. That would work good for us, too. So, I found that these violations are ridiculous. No humans live there. I know people in the city of Flint that are living in much worse situations, and their homes are not being condemned. There's heat, there's light, there's water. We had a new furnace just put in last year, and the building inspector said faulty furnace. I'd like to know how it's faulty. It was installed by a professional person. But regardless, so that issue has been taken up. I called the mayor's office on Friday and was told that there, in the city of Flint, you can't have more than 3 cats. Well, we do. We have 40-some. Also, that we could not be issued a kennel license, nor could we be issued a shelter license. So I said, well, how about a variance? Well, they said the city council can issue a variance. We are in an area called manufacturing. That's the zoning of that particular area. We're wedged between the St. Vincent de Paul Society and Flint Hide Company. And we're on very good terms with our neighbors. And we're like a neighborhood there. And we look out for each other. So I'm here to ask the council tonight. We're tired of getting bounced around from building to building, or this department and that department, oh no, call the zoning people, blah, blah, blah. I was told by the mayor's office that it would have to be a council action to get a variance. So we are here tonight to ask for a variance and also to have some of those conditions lifted when the house is not occupied by humans. So that's the request this evening. And I hope that you will do the right thing. This is a much-needed thing for this city. It's actually a positive thing. We had a little peaceful demonstration outside tonight, which was covered by all 3 local television stations, so I'm sure you'll see it. They filmed inside our shelter. I know it's politically motivated. I would be willing to bet that this is politically motivated, and there's a lot of jealousy and competition. We're strictly in it to take care of cats. And we've been there since 1999. Why is this suddenly a problem? So please look into it. Thank you.
Mr. Chris Del Moroni.
Thank you. My name is Chris Del Moroni, 722 Dickinson Street, Flint, Michigan. 9 people have been elected to City Council. I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 this evening at this time. I find it disappointing that all members of the council cannot be here all the time. I understand sometimes it cannot be done, but most often all members are not here. I think it's very important that members from City Council are here in attendance to hear the people's concerns. 6 weeks ago, I addressed City Council in regards to the Ombudsman's office. And that concern was that it was brought to the citizens of Flint to vote on that, and we did, and we have an Ombudsman. My question to City Council was, I believe the city charter requires a police chief, which we do not have yet, and I guess you're taking action on that, so I thank you. Now, I filled out the slip to talk about city appointments and city jobs. We can go throughout our community and we'll hear we'll hear people in leadership positions talk about city jobs and city appointments and the need for jobs in Flint, and that their children, our grandchildren, and their grandchildren are leaving our community. And I find it appalling that so many people in this community have been appointed to so many different positions. if they are elected to a position, I have no problem with that. The people have spoke. But when the same people are appointed to several different positions, there's something wrong with that. I cannot believe that there are not other people qualified in this city. I'm not speaking negative to anyone who is in those appointed positions that I want the job or they're not doing the job or that someone else could do it better. But I feel that sometimes those positions being filled by the same people are the very reasons why people are leaving our community. This millage increase that was presented today, unbelievable, 1.9 mils. They say it'll cost the average homeowner $60 a year. It very may well do that the first year. But as the value of the homes go up, it becomes more than $60 a year. My question to City Council again is, why is the city paying to have the sidewalks fixed if it's the responsibility of the homeowner? Why are the courts finding the city liable for damaged sidewalks if it is the responsibility of the homeowner? Why are the homeowners having to pay half of the price of the sidewalk on a 50-50 program? My concern is if this millage passes, we will be putting in new sidewalks in some blocks. Not that anyone does not deserve a sidewalk, but there may be only one house on that block. It is a waste of city resources to provide sidewalks in an area where virtually no one lives. We would be better off to ask the people to move, provide them a new house, move their house, and shut the street down and forget about the paving the streets, the curb, the sidewalks. I say fix my streets before you fix my sidewalks. And when you get done with my streets, then you can fix my curb. And, you know, for it to be said that, well, we're just going to grind up the roots and think that there will be no problem, that is ridiculous. That was said by the, I don't know, he's working on our streets, I guess, right now in the meeting earlier. But I don't understand why we are paying for sidewalks. The city, why we, the city, is paying for sidewalks if it's the responsibility of the homeowner. I don't see how that can be. Why would a judge tell the city to pay for the sidewalks that the city was liable for something that happened if it's the responsibility of the homeowner? It can't work both ways. We heard about tax abatements earlier today. My question is, these are for businesses, when do the citizens get a tax break? When we fill out our city Flint income taxes, we get a $600 personal exemption. That has not been raised in years and years and maybe decades. And certainly for the last 9 years it hasn't been raised. That should be indexed to inflation or something. I mean, $600 is about the only deduction you can take off on your city of Flint income taxes. Again, if this is 1.9 million, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Our next speaker is Mr. Adam Ford.
Adam Ford, 2538 Churchill Avenue. One of my main points tonight is people have been talking about the City of Flint Charter. I really think it would be nice if the City Council would fully enforce the City Charter. I know it's very rarely that we ever actually follow the rules of the citizens of Flint enacted for the City of Flint, but I think it would be nice if for once we actually start following our own rules. One of the main sections that I feel is of the City of Flint Charter section. By the way, you can pick up a charter at the clerk's office. One of the main sections is called Comprehensive Plan. The mayor shall, section 4-504, the mayor shall propose and the city council, after review by the planning commission, shall approve, with the modifications the council deems necessary, a comprehensive plan of policies for the social, economic, and physical development and conservation of the city. Let me state one of the main sections again. The mayor shall propose, and the city council, after review, shall approve. Where's the master plan? I mean, we talk about crime, which obviously is important, but and we're stealing people's cars with ordinances that are called for by the charter, and yet the mayor can't even do his duty. I think it's a disgrace to this community that we expect people to just have their cars stolen from them under approval of the charter when the city of Flint can't even follow the charter. And then one of the other sections, if you guys chose to follow the charter, that says, hey, we should have a police chief, hey, we should have a master plan, hey, we should have a chief planner. We'd also probably want a planning commission with representatives from every ward, which we don't have. But one of the sections of the charter is the city council shall declare the forfeiture of the office of any elective officer, which the mayor is an elective officer. So if the mayor isn't doing his job that is called for in the charter, I think perhaps the council should quit, instead of playing games with things like Haskell and the police chief, just enforce the charter and remove him from office. I mean, I know you guys like to do your negotiations and everything, but I mean, especially with this master plan, who needs a plan, Why would the city of Flint need a plan? Well, look what's happened, If we had these master plans in the past, we could see what went wrong. One of the things you put in a master plan is economic development. I think we could use some economic development and jobs in the city of Flint. One of the things in the master plan, you'd probably have parks. Hey, maybe we should reopen our parks instead of close them down. But on other issues, we all said we need a police chief. I think that's obvious. And like I've suggested before, like Gary Hartley for police chief and Officer Williams for deputy chief. I know the mayors in the past said he was going to do a national search, which he never admitted he never did. But I mean, a lot of this stuff has really frustrated me, when we're trying to have good government and we can't even follow our own charter. People talk about charter revision, but we never follow the charter. We haven't had a master plan in years. So I really think the city of Flint should consider enforcing the charter. Another thing with Haskell, like I know you got. I remember the mayor coming with a $100,000 proposal to pave one of Kerry Nelson's parks when he was on his side, and then now we can't pay the $80,000 to keep Haskell open. Another issue I have with the mayor is, we've seen some evidence of racism in the police department. I think we need to move this town ahead, and I do have an issue with the mayor appointing one of the main people alleged to have committed serious racism, a former police chief Rutherford, who's infamous for racism, to the Downtown Development Authority. Which if you're going to appoint somebody that most everyone thinks is racist, you should at least, he is a former mayor, at least you should have somebody like Woodrow Stanley to try and balance it out.
Thank you. Mr. Ted Jankowski.
My name is Ted Jankowski. I live at 2230 Laverne. I've been really thrilled watching the business meetings and stuff on Channel 17. This council is finally coming together. That was exciting. I'm at home dancing in my living room. It was exciting to see you guys finally come together and make a stand. I particularly was enthusiastic opening the jail. That's the very first thing we need to do. I mean, we can't have our police officers arresting people and then taking them home. I mean, you know, instead of arresting them and taking them downtown, they just drive them home. I mean, we've seen that in the journal, and we've had it happen, and I'm sure it's going on more than we know it is. Everybody, y'all have excellent points. Excellent. And please continue on. One thing I'm curious about, and it was said, and Mr. Nelson's not here, and I'm not pointing fingers, but there were, what was it, 7 officers that were fired inappropriately. They didn't follow disciplinary procedure. They were just yanked up and gone. I know they didn't follow the contract. It's not the Williamson way, is to follow contracts and follow what's been set precedent. So I want to just remind you, we are watching. We want to see those officers put back into the system. Even if they're disciplined, I don't know, maybe they've been disciplined a little bit too much because they've been gone for way too long. Now, something I meant to bring up last week and probably the week before, when we had all